Excited for our next guest.
I am so okay. So here's Bridget. So I want to tell you one thing about Bridget, guys. She is the voice you hear on Clubhouse. There have been many times that I've just, like Clubhouse used to just intrude all the time. I'd hear it and I'd hear Bridget's voice all the time, just sharing these universal truths and wisdom. And of course, you're more than a talking head, but I do get to introduce you. So I want to tell everyone a bit about you. She's one of my favorite people, guys. She's always present. Like you can see her in the chat room for the last 4 days. She's a trooper. She's just who she says she is. So Bridget Renee Holliday is a starseed channel and multidimensional medium. Her star lineages include Pleiadian, Sirian, Arcturian, Lyran, Andromedan, among others. When working with star seeds, Bridget helps them remember who they are and that they have trained lifetimes for what they are here to do. This includes discovering where they're from, what their specializations are, consciousness expansion, and embracing deep relationships with cosmic star families. Bridget is an Ascension contact specialist and Galactic ambassador for the Galactic Federation of Light. She's been communicating with the collective of beings such as angels and high guides since birth. Over her childhood and teenage years, other groups in the collective began to come forward over time. Before long, she was communicating with ascended masters, other beings of light, high ancestors, elementals, and knew them all by their frequencies. That's so cool, Bridget. As an adult, she's experienced 2 different star being contact experiences, as she refers to them as her starseed awakening. And this lifelong connection and communications encourages her to embody her own starseed specializations. And most importantly, she shares them with us. So I'm really happy to welcome you.
Thank you. That was the long bio, Joan. I was like, I did not expect that one. I'm so grateful.
Well, how does one capture thousands of lifetimes in 2 paragraphs? Okay.
Exactly. When you guys invited me to do this, I took off as much time as I could during this 5-6 days, right? Because I was like, I want to be there. I want to be immersed in as much of it as possible. And Neil, it has been so fun. Okay, so there are common themes that run throughout this. It's just been, you guys, I hope you're all feeling all of this. And if you haven't watched everything, hit the replays, because it is just one magical, expansive moment after another with all of the presenters. And Neil, I'm so grateful to you and everyone who is co-creating, to Joan, to Alan, to Michelle, to Tangela, to Brendan, I believe. He's new to me. All of you guys have devoted so much time and energy and effort and passion into this, and it's epic. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. It's expansive. You can feel the energy moving through from this, and I just wanted to take a moment and just love on you guys, tell you that you're amazing.
Sweet.
It's so fun creating this event and just being in it. Like, I wouldn't want to do anything else, you know? And I just love that we all get to be here together and create a family around the world. Like, this is just so incredible. Working with Joan, being in the same house as Joan, like, and doing this event too, it's just like, it's like I'm on a vacation, but while I'm doing this event, you know, we're having
because we laugh. Okay, the truth is, it's a lot of, there's a lot of details, but we end up laughing a lot. And since we're doing it together, it sort of becomes a flow, and then it's a service, and then it's like a gift, and then it's our gift. Spirit's gifting this to us. And so we're going to be doing it again, apparently, because it was so much fun.
Right? I mean, this is not only is my profession, it's my hobby. So we're all having fun doing it. It's your hobby and your career too, right, Bridget?
Yeah, I love. People ask me, "What do you do for fun?" And I'm like, spiritual stuff, like always.
Right. What else? What else is there? What else is there? So, Bridget, I know you said you made a PowerPoint presentation.
I have a Google slide. Yeah, I haven't done one of these yet. I'm really excited. I just played around with images and had fun creating this. And I'm
take it away, my friend.
I'm going to try to figure out how to do this. So give me
Okay, you
just
should
a
be able to
moment.
share your
Start
screen.
from, I
Play
think
it.
it's right here.
No.
Oh, yeah,
Slideshow.
that's it. Yeah, you got it.
Start from the
Slideshow.
beginning.
Yes.
There we go. That's
Thank
it.
you, direction.
Thank you guys. It takes a village sometimes, right? Oh, you guys. Okay, so my intention with this is really, let me just start my clock so that I don't have to ask you guys how long I have every minute. My intention with our cosmic expressions and connecting with our star families with this presentation is really just to remind us who we are, from the macro to the micro of what we're living right now. So you guys get ready to go on a journey with me of just explaining, you know, some things that I've experienced that we can travel through, you guys receiving it, but also just explaining some details about how my perception of our multidimensionality works and is playing out in real time. So the first thing that I would love to bring up is, you guys bear with me, these are universes. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing to formulate visuals for these multidimensional experiences that we've had, but these little discs are universes. And the first journey that I would love to share with you is I guide channeled meditation experiences. And in one of them, if you guys were at the pre-event, you heard a mention of this with Flo, but in one of them, we traveled, our soul teams and angelics. And in this particular one, it was a lot of star beings and angels combining together to take us on a journey. And we traveled through our solar system from our planet, getting to really like experience a slow travel instead of the instantaneous travel that we can do. The team were guiding us through our solar system and through our galaxy and looking at the vastness and how much space between heavenly bodies exists, but we're really teeming with life. Then they kind of took us to an overview of our universe and allowed us to see, you know, really all of the beautiful places that we're able to express within this universe alone. So we're looking, you know, we passed, you know, our solar system, our galaxy, other galaxies, right? And passing through them, getting to kind of experience the energetics. And as we were passing through them, we often had memory moments that came up of expressions that we're having in these other places. And then they crossed us through this dimensional barrier that is our universal barrier. It's almost like, and this is just one way to perceive it, you guys, there's lots of different ways to perceive this. So it's almost as if, you know, we crossed what it felt like dimensional barrier crossing. I do a lot of consciousness traveling. And then we were in this space that didn't have a lot of stuff. There weren't stars all twinkling all in the distance and different heavenly bodies. And they began to bring us, you know, kind of, we had this kind of fast forward effect through the traveling. And they fast forwarded us to this part where we are looking at all of these different universes throughout all of this space that is source, right? And they were giving us, you know, an overview of just how many places our soul, our essence, our consciousness gets to express and enjoys the expression of being soul source energy, right? Soul source consciousness. And, you know, we did have, I'm going to fast forward through some of this experience because it could be kind of long, but they took us toward what we could see from very far away was this enormous, it looked like a sun. It was enormous though. It made universes look really tiny, if you can see in this picture. It made the universes look so small, and actually probably smaller than this. And what I noticed also was that the universes were all different sizes. They had an interesting shape in the way that I was perceiving them. They were kind of like a funnel that had a curlicue at the bottom with a rounded top. It was very interesting. And the curlicue, I love that part because I think Neil's going to be like, that's the black hole. Or one of them, right? But yeah, it was very interesting. I'd never seen him in that way. I had seen universes in different ways before, but that was the first time they showed it in that form for me to perceive, right? Because a lot of this is just almost imperceptible, not perceptible. You guys know what I mean. so they'll give you a visual as you're going, right? They'll help you to visualize and experience in whatever way you do, whether that's knowing, feeling, seeing, hearing, whatever, right? So we're moving toward this, back on track, we're moving toward this enormous sun. And what I keep feeling is this radiant, all-encompassing love, a kind of love that we don't really know on Earth very often. This love that just, it's like it permeates every bit of your consciousness. And they move us into what would be like the corona, and we're in consciousness form. So it's similar to like having your consciousness having a shape of your body. It's not astral. You don't need a shell. You don't need the little silvery cord that connects it to your body. So we're traveling in that form, right? So it's not like we look like ourselves. We just feel like we have the human form still. And they put us in this dimensional cube, this really big dimensional cube that they had created inside of there. And they told me to tell everyone to face out. And as they're, you know, guiding me, I'm guiding, right? So I'm taking us all on this journey. I'm experiencing it and then guiding people through it. So there is like a moment where I can ask questions before I share. And I'm like, why can't we look at the inside, right? And they're like, you know, positioning us almost like, you know, when you put people together for a photograph, they're positioning us in specific placement, which I thought was also really interesting. And we're in there and we're getting upgraded and activated. And it's like parts of our consciousness are just shifting and changing and evolving. And this home feeling is just all encompassing. And it feels so beautiful and so deeply, I don't know, so deeply harmonizing is a good way to describe it. And so I'm like, can I turn around? And they're like, yes, you can. And so I turn around and I'm looking, and it's like looking through not even a portal. It was like almost like a space that allowed you to view into a completely different existence. And I could sense and see souls, and I kind of traveled my vision out a little bit, but it was like a completely different realm of existence, right? And I started to feel like I knew something, and I was asking questions, and I turned back around, and you know, I'm like, well, first, why couldn't they? And they said, because you have experienced being near to your source consciousness, and to like, this is kind of one way to describe it, you guys. This is a very linear way to describe it so we can understand it. But there have been many times and many journeys where I got to choose whether I wanted to stay or return. And that's what this would have been for them. And because the way they described it it was like a birthing place of source, an entrance into source. Now, source is within us, right? So the way they were describing it, though, is so that we could understand what we were experiencing. We were experiencing when we return to source, our soul returns to the all. That's the place that is one place that we can experience that, right? And so this is how they were showing me, right? So you guys just get it as a visual. And so, you know, they had said that they hadn't had that choice yet, and that day was not the day for them to do that, right? To have to make that decision of staying or going back to the human expression. They did not want to invite that energetic into what we were there to experience. And then this enormous, beautiful sourceness, whatever I want to call it, this light, this energy, this frequency, this home space, this home energetic, emitted like a heartbeat frequency. And it looked like waves of concentric, that's the word, thank you, team. Concentric waves of energy, of light and frequency and sound that emitted in a sphere around it and began to move out from it infinitely. And as the first one emitted, they said, ride this. And so we all got on the first one. And I remember sitting down riding it like it was a magic carpet. And we went back through this, what I call the waves of ascension, and have been calling it that far before I had this experience. We started riding it through the space between universes again. This absolute beautiful darkness that is, it feels so comfortable. And we rode through different universes, through the like kind of the edges of different universes, and really getting to experience a number of different universal expressions. And some of them are very hard to put into words because we don't have anything to relate to with them. But what we could feel and what we could know and what we were seeing was that each universe and everything within it was receiving whatever was right for them through these waves of ascension, these heartbeats of source, and that they were receiving in whatever way was appropriate and whatever way upgraded them or elevated them or that they chose to receive from. And then we moved back into our universe and we moved through planets. So we got to feel the planets like having this moment, and suns, stars. We got to feel this moment of bliss and elation as they received these codes for them. And we moved through, you know, different galaxies, and we finally got back to Earth, and we got to experience what it was like for everyone on the planet to receive. And, you know, some had a blissful moment with it, and some, there was a lot more contrast in it, right? And there were all kinds of things. So we got to experience really multiple universes and our connection to them, our oneness in source to these universes, but also to our own universe and our beautiful galaxies filled with planets and all of the dimensional expressions that happen both within what we perceive as physicality, but also beyond, and how all of us are connected and we're all receiving in whatever way is appropriate for us. And it was just such a magical, magical, magical experience. And I just wanted to share that with you to kind of expand out from the macro back into the human expression. And then, you guys, I hope you're enjoying the concentric rings. I had a lot of fun creating that on this slide. So then I want to go back into our universal expression and talk just a little bit about let me just minimize my video so I can see all of these. Okay, talk just a little bit about our universal expression and how we look at time, and really how we look at consciousness expansion and things like that. So within, you know, obviously within the Human Earth experience, the Terra Collective, we experience linear time, right? And linear time is more about life progression, right? We do it on a soul level as well, but we are experiencing ourselves in life progression. Cosmic time is what most of the rest of our universe experiences themselves in. And cosmic time is about soul expression, source expression, right? And if linear time is a straight line, like we always perceive it and display it as, cosmic time would be this really vast, semi-slow moving spiral. And cosmic time is a little bit difficult to describe because it is past, present, and future simultaneously, and it is a conscious choice, an intentional choice of expression and what we do within the expressions. And on Earth, because we have the illusions of forgetting and separation, those veils, we often don't experience ourselves within the cosmic time that we are actually in. That is true time. And it's not the same as what we would think of like with this clock, right? It's not a 365 days a year kind of thing like linear time is. It's more about how our soul essence, our consciousness essence is expressing in all the variety of ways. And before I get too much further into that, I just want to bring up dimensional expressions. So this is just, you know, there's many more dimensions than 12. My team has talked about so many, but this is just a really good idea, kind of a visual that we can use for dimensional expression and density, right? I like to combine the two. My team talks about density, but they use dimensional expression for me because that's what I was kind of birthed into the consciousness community with. And so it makes sense to me. So dimensional density is what I'm going to call it, right? So when we're looking at the 12th, 11th, 10th dimension, we're looking at more light, expansive consciousness and much less density, right? So when we're in those aspects, we can think of the 12th, 11th, and 10th dimension as really more like etheric consciousness. Sometimes there is light, like perceiving ourselves to be orbs of light, perceiving ourselves to be light centric, but sometimes we're just expanded consciousness that experiences ourselves as everything in creation, right? So it can be really interesting to access these knowing, I don't know what I'm trying to say, the knowing, oh, that was loud, the knowingness inside of ourselves when it comes to this. But it's always really fun. And when we look at like the 7th, 8th, and 9th dimension, we're still in really expansive consciousness in the 9th dimensional expression, right? We would perceive a 9th dimensional being who generally I find a lot of collectives in the 9th dimension as well as the 10th. But we would look at them as gods. I mean, honestly, most people would, because they can create life, they can create worlds, they can do all of these things. They can take form and then bounce back out of it. I mean, I should say, can do all of these things in those expressions. And I like to think of them as, you know, we understand ourselves in unity. And I like to think of it as more of a neutral density, right? So it's in between, you know, being super dense and less dense, right? In the higher dimension, right? So then I like to look at you know, 6th dimension kind of on its own because it is so interesting. So the 6th dimension, you can have a form, meaning a physical form, but you can also not have one. A lot of what we experience in the 6th dimension, it looks like giant sacred geometry. It's moving and alive and consciousness. It is an expression in itself. And there's a lot of sound and light and frequency. It's like the fundamental building blocks for the 6th dimension are sacred geometry, the music of the spheres we've heard of a lot, that sort of energy, but also light and, you know, light and sound. And I love that Akerta said she doesn't view them as separate, because I've always been shown that they are, it's almost like two sides of the same coin that's never separated. So I think it's so beautiful. It's all depending on where you look at it from, like what perspective you look at it from. And then we look down into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th dimension, right? So we're looking, you know, we know what a 3rd dimensional expression is. We feel ourselves very solidly, right? We have that density. We also have individuated consciousness, which you do have in some of the dimensions above these 3 to a degree, but we have it really intensely here, right? We understand ourselves in separation so much so that sometimes we're not even connected to ourselves, much less to each other and our co-inhabitants and our planet, right? So with the 3rd dimension, you know, we can experience that density. It gives you a good idea. 4th dimension is really interesting. It is like this amalgamation of a bunch of different things. So think of time and space, no linear time. Everything happens simultaneously from many of the, we'll call them layers of the 4th dimension. You can experience past, present, and future happening all at the same time, just like you can in the higher dimensions. And you could go up there, take a peek, and come back, right? The Akashic records are there. Our Akashic dreams time is there, you know, and there are layers and layers and layers of fully formed, self-realized beings that exist in, you know, their own specific, we'll call it civilizations that they've created. Some of them are created by us as humans in a very unconscious way to date. So some of them are thought forms, some of them are emotional forms, and so many other different things. Some of them are fully, they're fully self-sustaining, and others are not, and they're being shown how to become fully self-sustaining. Those who play a role in the control constructs with humanity for our growth and our expansion, and our experiences, right, that remind us who we are. So there, you know, there's a lot of us that are actually working with those particular beings to help them expand into a new way of existing without having to rely on their creators' energetics for their sustenance, right? So there's always the new ways of thinking about these things, but I just wanted to go through like a little bit about the dimensions and the densities, just to remind us all that we are all expressing in all of these dimensions. We are these amazing, beautiful beings of consciousness and light and frequency and expression. And we're existing in all of them. And as humans, we are infinite creator beings, right? So I love this. I had so much fun creating, adding to this creation, but I love that it shows what I call the highways of light. My team has been taking me on consciousness traveling journeys for a really long time. And one of the things that they've always showed me are the highways of light that connect everything, that we are all in a oneness field. And there's so many ways to perceive this. We can perceive it by going within ourselves. We can also perceive it as if we're being traveled through it. It's still within ourselves. So, and if you can imagine at every point where these grids connect, you are looking at a being, a celestial body, a galactic experience, a universal experience, right? Every single thing within the universal experiences are connected in this beautiful grid, this beautiful cosmic spider web, so to speak, right? And we are as well. Often also, this is a good kind of a good visualization for the light grids that we work with within our dimensional expressions as well, right? So currently, right now, like we would be sitting on the third dimensional grid, and above us in this picture would be the fifth dimensional grid. And they are actually connected, which most people don't really realize. There is no separation. So it's a matter of where we're wanting to place our attention, thoughts, and focus. But just to remind us that we are deeply connected in oneness and that we are these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beings. I want to just briefly talk about soul stream, what I've been calling a soul stream. As I've said before, we exist in all the dimensions as humans, and we hold all the dimensions within us, which is what I was just talking about with the other slide. Our dimensional expressions, the other two slides actually, are within each of them, right? Our soul is expressing as many, what I like to call source expressions simultaneously. And each of us share a soul stream. So we're all connected by soul. When we reach a particular degree of consciousness expansion, we can openly communicate with our parallel lives, our parallel source expressions via our natural consciousness communication abilities, right? So I want to switch to this one. This slide to me is symbolic of our ability not only to be these beautiful frequency beings, but also to be deeply connected with all of the expressions that our soul is having simultaneously right now at the same time as this one. We have access to all of it. We can communicate with them. I communicate with many of the parallel expressions that I share soul with. One in particular is a Lyran aspect, and she's amazing. She often channels through for these presentations with me. I ask her for assistance to keep me calm and grounded and confident during them. But also I experience myself popping into ships as two different Pleiadian parallels that are happening simultaneously, and they're in the same now moments, right? They're not what we would consider past and future. Well, they might be future to us, but they're happening simultaneously. I also experience myself as a couple of Syrian beings that are existing in this same moment as I am. And this is something that we get to look forward to, right? With our fifth dimensional embodiment, when we're really embodying more of our fifth dimensional frequencies, we get to communicate and connect with them on a soul consciousness level and have direct interaction with them in it's actually quite easy once you experience it. So going back to, we're a soul family tree, right? We are all connected by soul. We are all aspects of consciousness in every dimension. We have them in so many different races and species, right? And your soul team, like most, if not, I wouldn't say most, okay, let me just say many of the beings within your soul team are what you would consider past, present, and future lives, right? I consider it as just parallel expressions. But they are you, you are them, right? So connecting in with them is a really, really fun experience. And we access more of our remembrances of who we are, the core essence of our being, and our wisdom and knowledge through those interactions. And we can anchor that into our human expression, which I'll talk about in a minute. So really the love, when we meet another being, whether it's through meditation, through contact experience, through, channeling, through, I don't know, channeled writing even, when we connect with another being, the love we feel from them is a reflection of us, right? It's a reflection of our oneness. It's a reflection of our divine qualities. It's a reflection of our beautiful soul essence. And just the same, the disdain or disconnection and fear that we feel is also a reflection of our own consciousness and how we feel about ourselves and others, right? What we're holding within our belief system, the programming we've adopted in that isn't ours, from the collective and the people in our lives, and the beliefs that we've created, even as a small child, not fully understanding the human experience. All of that creates stories. We usually create stories around it that we tell ourselves and others, and then the conscious and unconscious patterning, right? Which is what we're all really in this now moment, in this beautiful monumental period of humanity's evolution. We're right now shifting all of that, right? Part of what we've labeled the Ascension is about shifting that and stepping out of the things that no longer serve us as individuals, but really stepping into and inflating the things that serve us as individuals, but also serve the collective, right? And really just a reminder that we are one. We are one love being, going back to that excuse me for the mouse pointer, going back to that great central sun experience that I talked about earlier. And I just want to bring it in again. There are more types of beings out there than we have labels for, and definitely more that I could fit in on this and have it be readable. So just looking at all of these different beings, right? Regardless of your preconceived notion of them and what they're doing with humanity, all of them we have a oneness with, right? Whether they are playing in the control constructs with humanity on one aspect of their dimensional expression, and in another actually uplifting it. That is something that you can start to find within the races that hold a lot of polarization within the human consciousness. First, there are a lot of, in my perception, there are a lot of stories that are based in clouded consciousness, but then there are also stories that are based in clear consciousness, right? So it just depends on, what we're listening and what we're receiving and what we're resonant with as to how we will receive all of them. My experience with all of the beings that I've encountered have been quite lovely and beautiful and supportive. Does that mean that there aren't any out there that are playing in the control construct with humanity? No. But the way I've been taught by my own parallel aspects of self and the rest of my soul team is to put my attention and focus into what I'm here to do within my embodiment, and also direct it in very intentional ways to what I am supporting and giving energy to. So they've been teaching me most of my life not to give my power away to any of the rabbit holes, so to speak, right? Or any of the storylines, the timelines that are encouraging the fear-based, whatever, it's disharmonious for me, right? So anything that's disharmonious, that's not harmonious for me, they encourage me just to really look at it and feel my truth within it and feel my truth that isn't within it, and just honor it and let it be and refocus, right? So this is really just a reminder that when we step into neutrality with our understanding of the entire universe and how it's expressing, we're able to really see in particular vantage points that we each have our own perception lenses, right? So we're able to see through the polarity and the duality with this. And really where we focus is telling us more. Everything is reflecting ourselves back to us, right? That's how I perceive things. So where we're focusing is really just telling us where we are within our own consciousness, right? And they will and this is on another slide, but they will actually reflect our stuff back to us. That is something that the more you work with star beings, which is what I call interdimensional, extra-dimensional, ultra-dimensional, extraterrestrial plus, the more you work with them, the more you realize they reflect our own stuff back to us. They're like a mirror of it. So yeah, I just wanted to remind everyone that we're all connected in oneness. We all share the same source light. And those that don't share the source light, they too are like another side to the same coin, right? So they have purpose. Everything that is source, everything is source is what my team says, and everything has purpose. So if we can look at it through the lens of neutrality, whoop, halfway there, that thing is so loud. If we can look at it through the lens of neutrality, then it really does help us to receive information without all of the fear, right? So that's one thing I wanted to say. So now we're going to get into talking about connecting with our star families. And there's, I think probably a lot of you have heard me talk about this before, so I'm just gonna run through it and just give you some foundational things that assist with connecting with our star family. It's very important, and I don't have spiritual discernment on here, but that's another thing. It's very important to know your own energy field. Really just intend to see, know, hear, feel, and sense your own energy on a daily basis, multiple times a day. It really teaches you how to trust what you're feeling and what you're receiving. You get to work through all of that insecurity and any of those perceived blockages that you might have around receiving. And it really just is, it's a game changer. So really spend time in nature, getting to connect in with our co-inhabitants. Not only is connecting with Gaia so deeply balancing and harmonizing for us, but it's also clearing. It helps us to slow down our mental fields and to feel balanced within our emotional fields, and to really be able to be in our own energy in a very, peaceful, comfortable way. So I highly recommend spending as much time as you can in nature, and not just moving. Spend some time laying in nature, sitting in nature. Take some time to slow down. The slowing down process of this and meditation, which I'll talk about in a minute, they're very important for us and our consciousness expansion journey. Connect with the subtle realms, right? Connecting with there are really no subtle realms. First of all, they are very loud and clear, but because we're so loud in our energetics within ourselves, we often perceive them as subtle, right? So that's why we call them that. But connecting with, of course, with your soul team, which is what we're talking about in this, but start off with crystals, start off with stones, with rocks, with the earth, with plants, with flowers, with animals, of course, with permission, with all of it, right? And really just honor that you can feel them. Hold a crystal in your hand and feel the pulsation. Focus on the coldness, the heaviness. Is it light? Is it heavy? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is your hand producing heat? Focus on the physicality and work your way into the more subtle ways of feeling it. Do you feel a pulsation from it? Crystals are really good for this. Are you feeling the energy, the frequency moving through you from it? Is it activating your mental, emotional, and really your extrasensory abilities in any way, shape, or form? This will help you in practice. Meditate and embody love. That's the next one. Meditation is so important, and we can do it in so many different ways. I highly recommend, YouTube's filled with things, right? So just check out YouTube, check out Portal to Ascension, check out New Realities, check out all of the people on there. There's all of the presenters and speakers have given so much information about this, so I don't really want to spend a lot of time on it, but it's really, really important to be able to clear ourselves so that we can hear, see, sense, feel, know, however it comes in for us, when we are receiving information. And it also helps us with sending as well. And really just embodying love as often as possible, as much as possible in every now moment with ourselves, with one another, with our planet, with the co-inhabitants that we share this beautiful collective with, and of course, anyone that comes into your field, right, is super important. And being in the energy of play and the joy state as often as possible. If you're wanting to communicate with star beings, they're really high frequency. These things are a must for them. If you want to have super easy communication. I'm just going to move my leg for a second. It's getting a cramp. So really, that being in the energy of play and the energy of joy, the state of being of joy, really. We think of them as emotions, but they're states of being. We feel them and radiate them. So this raises our vibration. It also, if the play has physicality to it, like a physical movement to it, it also releases pent-up energy within our body, right? Which will help with being in a very receptive state as well. And then, of course, do things that raise your vibration with intention, right? Have the intention to raise your vibration and to expand your consciousness and awaken aspects of your consciousness and be a really clear channel. The clear channel, clear communicator, however you want to look at it. And then the next thing that I'd like to talk about is inviting and observing. So acknowledge and invite your star families to connect and communicate with you. If you haven't done that, you can just go, hey, star families, I really want to have deep connection and communication with you on a very conscious level, right? So let's make this happen, right? I talk to them like they're my friends and family. I don't talk to my team any differently than I would anyone else or myself. But yeah, you can just invite them. The invitation and intention is key for these connections. A lot of them, much like the angels, will not impinge upon your free will. So if you haven't, previously set it aside for yourself to happen in a particular way, then it's up to you a lot of the times to initiate that connection and communication and contact. So you can also, if you are feeling a little bit of trepidation about connecting in with your star family, you can ask your soul team, your entire soul team, which your star family will be on. These are the dimensional beings who are here to guide and assist you along your journey, right? So you can ask them to filter for you. So you can say, hey, soul team, I ask that you filter any and all connection, communication, and contact with any being or non-being. There you go. And then you can say thanks, right? They're already doing it for you. But what this does is it allows you to rest and trust and know that anyone that comes into your energetic field is there with a purpose. There's a message. They're there to remind you something about yourself within you, to bring out qualities and expressions within you, those kinds of things. Also choose to be aware and observe your signs, your synchronicities, and be present in your now moments, looking for those numbers, those symbols, those songs, those conversations, tones in your ears, sensations in your body, seeing, repeating like butterflies, lizards, dragonflies, birds, animals, those kinds of things. Our soul team and our high self often speak in a very imaginative way, right? So they use things that are not everyone is going to hear a booming voice in their mind or in their ear, right? Or see words run across their mind's eye. So just really pay attention. And when you are observing those, look and see what they mean for you first by going within. So what you can do is you can see where you were mentally and emotionally before that happened, what you were doing, how you were feeling, what the state of your mental body was, your emotional body. And then after you received the sign, how did you shift? What shifted within you? And what does that mean for you, essentially? Because they all hold the answers to what they are doing for you when they give you these signs and synchronicities. And really, it helps you when you pay attention. You will work through trusting your messages and the synchronicities. Most people have this moment of, oh, that may not mean what I think it does, or whatever, but you'll work through that as you really begin to practice gratitude with it and enjoy them and receive them and get excited about them and be in joy with them. Then more and more and more of them will come as well. And that leads to more profound experiences and ability to connect and communicate as well. So really, another good thing is to just follow your intuition and your inner guidance. That helps you to open up your all of your soul senses and expand into them. And then we'll step into trust. I thought I heard a hot mic, but I wasn't sure. So step into trust is the next thing. You know, again, we're vast, infinite creator beings. There's nothing in existence that can usurp our free will. Nothing at all, unless we're giving our power away to them. So if you're feeling in fear and you're giving your power away, you get to say, I don't want to play that way anymore. I'm going to choose something different, right? And often in those moments, we learn a lot about our sovereignty and our personal power and things like that, right? So just look at the purpose of them, but also really remember that you are infinite. We've talked about this nonstop. This thing is beeping so loud. Sorry about that, guys. So yeah, we've talked about being infinite nonstop. So really right now it's about anchoring our divine sovereign power, right? And stepping into the remembrance of who we are on all of our layers. And really looking at lower vibrating beings, an empowering way to look at lower vibrating beings. Let me just start like that. As seeing them as messengers, that they're usually just an indication to go within, right? They're telling us something. My team always talks about we are invisible to what we call quote, quote, lower vibrating beings. Let me just add those quotes there. But they say we're invisible to beings that are not resonant with us. So when a lower vibrating being is coming in, they're coming in to really show us something about ourselves, that there's something within our consciousness that they can see, and it's time for us to do some inner work, right? That's how I perceive them. And that really honestly is a super empowering way of seeing it. You don't have to let them hang out and run amok and do the things that they do. You can, you know, say, thank you, your message is received. I send you off with a big burst of unconditional love from my heart of source light, or just directly from source, and then send them on their way. And if they stay, they're usually offering, asking for a soul exchange or an energetic exchange in some way. So really it's about empowering ourselves right now where we are, and our communication with our star families is about empowering ourselves. And in our communication with them, we are also directed, you know, they always, to me, they're always offering information of empowerment, of remembering who we are, of anchoring in our sovereign frequencies and our cosmic frequencies and our multi-universal frequencies and our galactic frequencies, all of these expressions of soul that we are, anchoring them in, and then inflating what uplifts us as individuals and as a collective, and also deflating. In the act of inflating that, we're deflating what no longer serves us, right? As an entire collective. And that's what we're here, part of what we're here to do right now. And just a reminder that we are surrounded in every moment by divine soul connection, beings and consciousnesses and parallel aspects of soul that we're all connected with in oneness, who are uplifting and supporting us in every moment, whether we're conscious of it or not. And then I want to talk about a little bit about what communicating with star beings is like. So there is what I call consciousness communication. It's kind of this all-encompassing way of expressing information. And this could be, you know, it could be from one moment to, like, you know, billions of years worth of information all in one moment, right? They're very efficient with the way that they communicate. Many of them are born communicating in this way. Others are created communicating in this way. So our very linear way of using words to describe things is actually, it feels very limiting compared to how they communicate. They'll convey entire concepts and stories and history. Like I said, history or moments of lifetime in a matter of moments. And that happens a lot through downloads and visions. They'll bring up our own personal memories, but as they do that, they'll add like a feeling with it so we understand, and a knowingness. So they'll bring all of that to the forefront of our consciousness so that we understand the point they're making with it. They'll show us symbols. The symbols can be all kinds of different things, from things that look like light language to sacred geometry to all, I mean, it could be, they've shown me like fully formed moving symbols that are enormous and small, all kinds of things, but colors and feelings and visuals and mind movies, right? In that place that within our mental field where we replay our memories, those kind of things. They'll show movies on that. They'll immerse us in sound, which we can hear, see, sense, know, feel, however we receive it. Always there's a knowingness involved with it. They use your clairs, like I call them the soul senses. They use your soul senses in a very efficient way for you to get as much of what they're sending as possible. And then they'll also take you for consciousness traveling experiences and journeys where they can show you things, show you your homeworld, show you other planets, but they'll show you however is right for you in that moment, right? And if it is right for you in that moment. And they'll often adjust our energetics when we're beginning to communicate with them. So you might feel, things within your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body. But one thing I want to make very, very clear to everyone is this is not a one-way street. So interaction is hugely important in any connection and communication that we're doing with any being, with any consciousness, with any non-being. So we have the ability to ask questions. We have the ability to, ask for things to be different. Like if you're having, the feeling of electricity running through your body and it feels like it's too much and it's like setting your nerve endings off, say something, right? Don't sit with it. You can say something. I mean, unless you want to sit with it, right? But you can say, hey guys, it feels like my nerve endings are being activated by this. Can we tone it down just a little bit? This is a two-way street, this communication. I like to spend time, and part of what I do here with all the soul teams, not just my own, is communicate with them about what we're feeling and experiencing from a very human perspective, because they still see us and know us from our expanded state, and they are our expanded states, right? So it's easier for me, I found in my situation of communicating my whole life, to really just talk to them about what I'm experiencing, to describe it to them physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etherically, right? And really also, I just want to remind everyone that I've said this a couple of times in this now, they reflect who we are back to us, right? So if you're feeling nervousness from your own soul team, that is an inner thing. Our soul team, they will only love, guide, and support us in oneness, right? So your own soul team is not going to be negative with you. They're not, they might get, my soul team, when I don't listen, my high self will step in and get a little like, here's booting the baby bird out of the nest. But the rest of the beings on my soul team, they don't do that with me. And I'll say, I include the high self, which is a higher aspect of our soul, but I will say, they're going to speak to us about who we are. They're going to remind us in love and support always. So if you're communicating with someone that's not doing that, then odds are they're not on your soul team, or they're maybe a guest speaker for something that you're going through. Or you can just dismiss them and call in your, the beings that are in the higher dimensional aspects of your soul team. And really connecting with our star families and our multidimensional journey and, accessing our wisdom and our knowledge is all for us to remember who we are, right? We are these brilliant beings who are becoming crystalline in form, right? We are accessing our higher dimensional frequencies. We are becoming crystalline in form. And we are embodying more of our fifth dimensional frequencies within the now moment, right? And anytime we communicate with our star families and we access our multidimensionality, it's really important to anchor that within our human expression now, to ground it into who we are now and embody it and radiate it out into the collective, which I'll talk about in a moment. So really, we're here to anchor our frequencies, quiet our mind chatter, shift into our hearts in unity, expanding from the heart space, intentionally opening to receive our soul remembrances, integrate them, and embody our soul codes, keys, and frequencies, right? So this is an intentional journey that we're stepping into. We're stepping out of, doing everything in reaction to, and we're stepping into consciously creating our reality, to embodying our sovereignty, to embodying and integrating our soul remembrances, the access to all of our multidimensionality that we have the ability to connect with and bring in to this human experience and really integrate it and anchor it. We have access to our multidimensional qualities, that wisdom and knowledge that from all of the lives that our soul is expressing that are appropriate for this human experience. We can access any of that information, and we're stepping into that. A lot of you, I can feel, are like, yes. So yeah, amazing. So connecting with our parallel aspects of soul and our star family, really, we can do that when we lift the illusions of separation and forgetting. And that comes through embodying higher dimensional frequencies and awakening slumbering aspects of consciousness and really remembering who we are. And part of anchoring our frequencies really is also being of service. I saved the best for last. We're here to be of service in whatever way we are, those specializations and geniuses. Sorry, I don't know how to turn this off. And masteries. Those specializations, geniuses, and masteries, gonna have to get a different clock timer. It's all about remembering those and really embodying them, and so that we can be the expansion catalyst that we're all here to be, right? So it's intentional embodiment of our soul frequencies, anchoring our cosmic and galactic frequencies, using in a very conscious way our specializations and masteries that we all come in with from all of the lives, both from within the human earth collective, but also beyond, and really using them to uplift ourselves and everyone within this Terra collective. And really just being a catalyst of awakening and expansion through the natural emanation of who we are in every now moment. So we are this beautiful, I spoke about the concentric rings, the heartbeat of source earlier. That's what we are here. That's what we get to step into as we embody more of our soul, embodying more of the light of our awareness into our conscious, intentional expression in the human earth collective. We're shifting the way it means, we're basically shifting what it means to be human within the earth collective, but we're also serving as this emanation of all of these aspects that we're bringing in and anchoring in to our human, anchoring in and broadcasting, essentially. So everyone around us is now experiencing this. Everyone around us is now receiving just through us being, not to mention the actions we will take to be of service, right? So yeah, that's what I have for you. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I am a Starseed mentor and Beyond Quantum Healing hypnosis guide. So if you are interested in co-creating amazing hypnosis journeys or any of the other sessions that I offer, you can reach me at this website. It is my name. Holliday has 2 L's in it, just so if you're wondering. I am happy and so elated. This is my passion, what I do in the world, and my service soul work is definitely a part of that. There is something so magical about being able to connect in with your high self and bring your questions and your intention, which serves as a focus point, and really, ask those heavy hitting questions that you have about your life here, but also who you are. And having worked with so many starseeds, often we find out their other homes beyond earth, who they are, parallel aspects of soul, all of these really beautiful deep things, how their soul was created, what they're here to do, all of those kinds of things.
So
but
beautiful,
you can
Bridget.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say one more.
So Bridget, we're doing good. I've put your website here in the chat. I love this expansion catalyst. Your work is extraordinary. And I want everyone to know I've had a session with Bridget, and her quantum hypnosis was quite extraordinary. I'd never experienced anything like that. I found myself co-creating with the star beings, and I just think you all should reach out to Bridget to work.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you. I loved co-creating with you. It is so magical, and hopefully we'll get Neil in soon too. These experiences are just astounding, and this is not the only way you can get this information, you guys, right? But this is a way to fast track your journey. I mean, there are many existing in this world right now, and this is a really fun one, I think. my personal opinion on it. But you can also find me, you guys see the Conscious Awakening Network app with Sheila Seppi of the Galactic Alliance. You guys check that out. Neil's on there, Joan's on there, Alan's on there, everybody's there. But also the Awaken and Ascending Club on Clubhouse. And I'm gonna try to figure out how to turn this off.
Bridget, I just want to say that I love how high vibe you are and how you're so authentic and so easy to listen to. I didn't catch your whole presentation. This is our last day. I'm not even dressed up yet. I'm trying to manage things, but thank you so much for the high vibe you bring to every single one of these platforms and to Portal to Ascension. I really appreciate all of the work that you do, and I can't wait to dive in more with you as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, fantastic presentation, Bridget. I just love the way you explained how we can actually all access that consciousness and the various ways we can do that.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Joan. Joan, do we have a couple seconds to show your images, or did I go over? I thought I had an hour. Do you think we have 5 minutes? Are we running behind though?
I think we've gone over.
Oh.
Let me ask Neil, can I show the images for a minute?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, great.
Okay. You guys like my visuals?
Your visuals are beautiful.
Yeah, the slideshow was amazing. I really love the dimensional one with the like sphere and the different dimensions. Like that's really good. Yeah, good job.
I had so much fun creating those.
I have these.
Oh, you have them? Okay.
I have them.
Thank you.
Look. Let's just look like this. I couldn't open them but we can see them here. So guys, I was on the panel.
I haven't even seen those.
I was on the panel with Bridget the other day, and we were talking about Lyrans and the felines, and suddenly I had this tremendous sense of wanting to just show her the soul essence. So these are some of the images. This one's supposed to move. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it moved here on Google Drive.
It was moving its head.
It was moving his head.
The one above it, Joan, go to the one to the left with the hair.
This one?
No, oh no, I was talking about the one to the right of it. The one in the middle.
I'm not letting you open them, but okay. The
one in the middle of those two.
Is that
I don't think you know, but I do. My hair is really long. I just cut 8 inches off of it, 6 or 8 inches. I can't remember. But I do a bunch of strange hairstyles. I love updos, and that one feels. Oh my gosh, Joan, these are amazing.
Your high soul essence, and look at the ones above that have the Lyran frequency, the feline frequency. So you know, when you see who you are, you cannot forget it. That's all I want to say. You are magnificent, my sweet friend. And you can have any of those images, okay?
Oh, thank you. And Michelle, it's so good to connect with you because I've been hearing you with everyone, and I'm really appreciating your energy and the heart that you bring in here. And you, Joan, you know I love Joan. I feel like Joan is like my star sister from so many other lives. I just love you guys. I just want to say thank you, and I don't want to take up any more time because we have Mr. Dan Winter here. So thank you, Neil.
Thank you so much, Bridget.
Thank you, everyone. So much love.
Great job. Thank you.
Great job. All right.
So high vibe. Everything is just pulsing with positivity. I love the way the day is flowing.